Hi, students and parents. Today is Monday, September 14th, and it is the first day of Walk to Learn. So first we had attendance, and then the beginning of our morning was talking about Walk to Learn and what that is. So I know you kind of have a rundown, but I'll just remind you. Your student is going to be leveled by their reading skills. And they could be either in my class, Miss Bell's class, or Mrs. Scales' class. And how they find their Zoom. So this is what we did in the morning. I made sure every kid could find their Zoom and that their tile was there. In their dashboard, I'm just going to show you real quick. So if they go to their Canvas, they should have 4 tiles. I only have 3. They should have PE, My Classroom. They should have Mrs. Holmes, the counselor's tile, and then they will have their Walk to Learn tile. This was mine, but they may have Mrs. Bell's or Mrs. Scales. You click in. Again, this is mine. They could either have Mrs. Bell or Mrs. Scales. There will be some type of Zoom link here. Ours is all different, but they will just click into here to get there. Okay, so I explained to them I will try to give them a break. Well, not try. I will give them a break before Walk to Learn starts because they need to go to the bathroom and get a quick snack. Because during Walk to Learn, we do not want them eating, going to the bathroom, nothing. We want to try and make it just like we're in school for our Walk to Learn. So that's at 10 o'clock. All right, so our morning where we were talking about it, how to access it. And then after, they need to come back to my class at 11 o'clock. So they need to come back into our normal Zoom of how they get there every single morning, and that's really important. Make sure we're still recording. Good. Okay. All right. Then we moved into math. So we did a lot of review because tonight they are doing another brain check. So I want to see where they're at, and I'll explain when I get to there what they specifically need to answer. So we first talked about odd and even. So this is my dirty whiteboard. So we skip counted by twos. So we were like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So we're skip counting by twos. That's a pattern. So when there is a pattern and you figure out a pattern and you're skip counting by twos, you will be able to figure out what's next. So for instance, if I have 0, 2, 4, blank, 6, 8. Oh, I know if I'm skip counting by twos, if I'm going to go, oh, beautiful, oops. 0, 2, 4, blank, 8. Okay, so we know 6 goes here. So that's a pattern, right? Our pattern is skip counting by twos, and then you'll know what's next. Okay, what's after 10? 12. So we talked about that. I gave them different numbers and I erased, or I left a blank just like this and had them fill it in with the patterns of skip counting by twos, just because that leads us into odd and even. Then we talked about what's even. So I would say 2, and they'd tell me even. And I'd do that all the way up till 10. But I only counted by ones. So 1, is that odd or even? They would tell me. 2, odd or even. 3, odd or even. 4, odd or even. 5, odd or even. 6, odd or even. All the way up till 10. And so then we discussed that every other number, it's going to go. Our pattern is odd, even, odd, even, odd, even, right? Then I pulled out my hundreds chart to prove it. And we discussed how when there is a 1 in the ones place, it is odd. When there's a 2 in the twos place, it is even. And we discussed every single one, so do that with your child. So look at the ones place, okay? If there's 3, it's odd. If there's a 4 in the ones place, it's even, and so on and so forth. If there's a 0 in the ones place, it's even. The reason we're going over this is I did a brain check last week, and some students were still struggling with even and odd. So now, how can you explain it? Well, one way that I think is simple is if you're skip counting by twos and you say that number, it's even. If you don't say that number, it's odd. So if I'm skip counting by twos, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, all right? Those are all even. If I say 5, 2, 4, 6, I skipped over 5, so that means it's odd. Then we did like a bigger number, 42. Well, if you look in that ones place, there's a 2. If we skip count by twos, we're gonna say 2. So that is even. Then I gave them practice problems, like what's gonna be on their brain check. So I give them like 10 plus 2 equals, and they had to solve it. Solve. 12. Is it odd or even? I'd ask them. So I'm going to pause because like you can pause your computer and go over it with them. And then, well, how do you know? Well, in the ones place is a 2. And when we skip count by twos, we do say 2. So that's an easy way to say it's even. Let's say a bigger number, like 45 plus 4 equals. And we always set up like this, right? You add the ones first. 5 plus 4 is 9. 4 plus 0 is 4. So 49. You look in the ones place. 9. Let's skip count by twos. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I skipped over 9. So that means it's odd. Okay. So we did a few of those. So if you want to give your child a few more of those, that'd be awesome. Then we moved into the commutative property. So again, this was on the brain check. We needed more practice. Okay. With the commutative property, it states, well, actually, I'll show you an example first. So 5 plus 4 equals 9. And it would say, what's another way you can write 5 plus 4 equals 9? Or it might say, what's the commutative property of 5 plus 4? It may give you the answer. Sometimes it doesn't really matter. And you just switch them. 4 plus 5 equals 9. So the commutative property is no matter where our add-ins are, you can switch them. You will get the same answer. You'll get the same sum. So we just did that. I had them, we did a few problems. Like we did this over like an hour of all this review took a while because we practiced a lot. So I said 100 plus 3 equals 103. It's commutative property. We'll switch it. 3 plus 100 still equals 103. Then I expanded it a little bit and said, well, what if there's 3 numbers? So what if we have 40 plus 2 plus 1, okay? That equals 43. Well, let's switch it around. Instead of putting 40 first, let's put 2 plus 40 plus 1. What does that equal? Well, let's figure it out. 40 plus 2 is 42. When we add 1, that gives us 43. Oh, we have the same answer. So it doesn't matter where I move my numbers. So let's put, instead of 2 being first or 40, let's put 1 first. So 1 plus 2 plus 40. Okay. Let's add 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 40 equals 43. So it all equals 43. It doesn't matter the order that you put the numbers when adding. When adding only. Well, for right now, but not subtraction. Adding only. Then we reviewed identity property. Oops. We all get the gist. Beautiful oops. All right. So let's say I give you 6 plus blank equals 6. And I ask them, what number goes in this blank to give your answer, to have your answer be itself? 0. All right. Well, let's try it first. Let's do blank plus 20 equals 20. Okay. What plus 20 equals 20? Oh, 0. All right. So any number plus 0 is the same number. The sum is the same exact number. That's identity. So think of identity as usually a different meaning is who you are. Like how you see yourself. How is your identity? Well, with these numbers, the identity is this same number. Okay? So we did a few problems like that as well. Then we moved into a lot of rounding practice. I gave kind of 2 explanations. One, well, I'll write, actually, we'll do one. All right, so if we do estimate, then find the sum. Okay, and if I have, I'll just make up. Okay. So estimate, then find the sum. It does not tell you if you're rounding to the tens or hundreds. If it doesn't tell you, you choose. Okay? But if you choose to round in the hundreds, the first number, you round the hundreds the second number. If you choose to round to the tens the first number, you round to the tens in the second number. So this one we'll just round to the tens. So I'm deciding to round to the tens. So I'm going to box the 10, tens place, point to the 2. I ask myself, is 2 greater than or less than our magic number 5? 2 is less than. Since 2 is less than our magic number 5, 3 stays the same. Everything to the right turns to a 0. Everything to the left stays the same. All right? Since I rounded the tens place, I'm going to round the tens place on my second number. My tens place right now is 6 for 60. All right, I box the 6, point to the 8. Is 8 greater than or less than my magic number 5? 8 is greater than 5. Since it's greater, my 6 will go up by 1 only to 7. Everything to the right turns to a 0. Everything to the left stays the same. And we add 0 plus 0 is 0. 7 plus 3 is 10. You drop the 0 the ones place. You carry the tens place into the hundreds. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 4 is 6. Okay. Then we talked about finding if your answer is reasonable. It's not in the directions, but I would love for them to practice it, especially on their brain check. So to find if your answer is reasonable, you add the original question. So 2 plus 8 is 10. Again, you drop the ones place, keep it at the bottom, carry the tens place. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 6 is 10. Okay, drop the ones place again, carry the 1, 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 4 is 6. It's actually exactly the same. So yes, our answer is completely reasonable. It's reasonable if it's within about 20 numbers, depending on how you round. We can make that the magic rule. But it's just to see if you rounded correctly. All right? We did a few of those, so you could just make up a few problems and have them practice. Okay. Then it's the big one. So I am going to explain. Usually when we're in person, before we even start a skill, I give them the question. Without knowing anything, I have them answer it. And then that night, I look at it and I see maybe some are actually get it without any instruction. Or I could see the most common mistakes that my students in class are making. And then when I teach, I make sure to pay attention to that. So I obviously can't really do that right now. So the back of their brain check is problems that we haven't really gone over. 1 or 2 they can completely do, but about 2 of them are multiple step problems that we've not practiced. So I know how frustrating it is, especially if, it's been a long time since you've done probably word problems and for the students. So I didn't want to send it completely cold. Because when they're in class with me, it's different. I know what they're doing, and I can keep pushing them. I'll usually time them, but I don't want to frustrate them tonight. So we went over one problem, and I'm going to go over it with you so you kind of understand. And it looks really messy right now. I didn't want to erase it. So our word problem: Miss Hester ate 63 pieces of Skittles, 38 pieces of Starburst, and 51 pieces of Reese's. About how many more Skittles and Starburst did she eat than Reese's? That's our question. They have a cube sheet that is that they need to use this with their word problem. Word problems on the back of their brain check. I wrote it on the side. So number 1, actually, we skip circle. We go straight to underline the question. Then you circle the key numbers. Then you box the math verbs. Then you evaluate. So you're thinking, how am I going to solve this? You're picturing it in your head. You're visualizing it in your head. And then you solve. And then you can check if your answer is reasonable. All right. So first, underline the question. They told me, about how many more Skittles and Starburst did she eat than Reese's? Perfect. So we underline the question. Then the question is asking us about Skittles, Starburst, and Reese's. So that's why we do that second, because sometimes questions try to trick you. Like, they may throw in here, and then she ate 50 slices of pizza. Well, the question's not asking about pizza, so you would cross that part off, and I call it fluff, and you don't even think about it. So that's why you need to figure out what the question's asking first. Here, it's asking for Skittles. Oh, there's Skittles, so you circle it. Starburst. There's Starburst, so you circle it. And Reese's. Oh, there's Reese's, so you circle it. So all the numbers here you do need. Then step 3 is box the math verbs. So 2 of these math verbs they already know, and 1 was new. So you box about, because about means round. So you are rounding first. You're not giving an exact answer. And means add. Oh, sorry, here. So when it is in the question between 2 items that they're talking about in the problem, you're going to add those 2. So that's why we have add. And then than means subtraction. That's the tricky one. So we are subtracting. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm evaluating. I'm picturing myself eating. Oh, I'm eating so much candy. And then my dad's like, and I'm complaining, my stomach hurts. And maybe my dad's like, oh my gosh, but like, about how much did you eat? And so I'm thinking, okay, about how much did I eat? Well, I first need to round. So that's what we did right here. we rounded our numbers, and that's what's on this side. And you need to label it because you'll forget. So 63, oh, that was Skittles. 40, okay, that's Starburst, and 50, that's Reese's, okay? And then I'll picture my dad being like, oh my gosh, you ate a lot, but about how many more Skittles and Starburst did you eat than Reese's? Okay, so now he just wants to know how much. Well, first I have to figure out how much Skittles and Starburst did I eat. Okay, so I need to add that second. So first I round everything. Then I'm adding Skittles and Starburst. And that is right here. 60 plus 40 equals 100. Okay, so this is my big anchor number. Then the third part, this is a 3-step question. The third part now is, okay, well, how much more is that than Reese's? So now you need to put 100. So I ate 100 minus 50. 50 is the Reese's, which equals 50. Okay, so about how many more Skittles and Starburst did she eat than Reese's? I ate about 50 more pieces of Skittles and Starburst than Reese's. Okay, so that's a big question. So that is going to be page 33 in your Go Math book, chapter 1. So page 33. Okay. Up top, you're not going to use compatible numbers, but these are 3 vocabulary words, and you're going to choose a vocabulary word that fits the definition. And then cross out compatible numbers. We're not doing that. You are going to round, add, find the reasonable, see if your answer is reasonable. And then same down here. I just want you to round and add and see if your answer is reasonable. The more practice, the better. You are not doing 9, 10, 11. Cross it off. And then the back. Okay, so the front is a brain check. I am grading it as a whole brain check. The back, I'm using it more as a guide so I can help guide my instruction. The 18, they can solve. They know that. And 19, I believe they can do as well. But the top 2 are a little new. So I told them that they will get credit based on using cubes. They need to do every single piece to get credit. If the answer's wrong, I will still give them credit because they are trying. This is new to them, and they're not giving up. And they're dissecting the problem. That's what I want. All right. So in the back of that. Then we move to Walk to Learn. So in their Walk to Learn class, it's not recorded. That's why you need to be there because we don't record them. And then they came back to me at 11 o'clock. I had a few students that didn't show back up, so I will contact you if that was your child. And then we went to vocabulary. In their small book, I don't have the small book, but their small textbook wonders. It's on page, I have so many textbooks with me. Oh, here we go. Page 37. So page 37. And in there, weeks 4 and 5, language arts. You're gonna have to just keep flipping through. There's a lot of papers, but there are these boxes for their vocabulary boxes. This is what we're gonna do from now on for vocabulary. We did the first one together. Okay. So celebrate. We answered these questions like together. And then we came up with a definition. They came up with a sentence. They need to write a picture. And then a synonym, they can try it at home, but I'm going to go over that with them as well. So if they think they have one, I would love to hear it. So their homework is finishing celebrate, starting and finishing courage, minus the synonym. Starting and finishing disappointment, minus the synonym. And starting and finishing precious, minus the synonym. The actual definition is the first page at the bottom. Okay. Their homework is that math, this vocabulary, reading for 30 minutes. And I also put up the new science for this week. It's a checklist, though. You have all week to do it, so maybe check it out and see and set out a good time where they can start working on it. And that's it. All right, thank you so much.